And welcome back to the Stan Simpson Show. What should you do when you run into financial problems and can't pay your mortgage? Here with Jeff Gentes from the Connecticut Fair Housing Center.
Hey,
the first thing, good to see you. First thing, a new law has been passed that basically buys the owner 8 months. Right now, this new law, which will go into effect against July 1, if you're an owner in foreclosure, they can't foreclose on you until 8 months, and it gives you time to work with the bank to work something out. Why is this important?
Yeah, we've got, right now, we passed the mediation program back in July of 2008. We were the first state in the country to allow people to go into court, and instead of having to argue their case in front of a judge, actually be able to sit down with a mediator who was employed by the court, but then a bank attorney could get their client on the phone and actually talk about, well, what can we actually do to make this work for me, as opposed to I'm just going to keep faxing things or spend all my time on the phone on hold and waiting for a response that way.
More stress and it prolongs the agony,
exactly.
Right? And what's happening now, not to cut you off, what's happening now is that the owner has to go through the mediation process and the foreclosure process at the same time.
Exactly.
It's almost two tracks. They're being foreclosed on and trying to mediate.
Yeah.
This calls the dogs off for 8 months.
This does. And essentially it means sometimes if you get mediation, if your mediation lasts 5-6 months, that's great because you never had to worry about the litigation side. And if it does go 8 months, you're still, so long as you're in mediation, the bank can't finish the foreclosure. But having that at least first initial 8 months of breathing room, up to 8 months, is a nice thing. And we think, I mean, right now, a lot of folks are in mediation for 6 to 8 months, and this will help, I think, the majority of people in foreclosure.
If I'm Joe Banker, what's in it for me? I want these guys off the book. I don't want to be prolong the process. If I'm Joe Banker, why do I like this?
Well, if you're Joe Banker, you like it because there's some other things in the bill that are helpful. One of them is that when you get those foreclosure papers to start the court process, there'll be some financial information forms right from the get-go that you send into the bank so that that first mediation session is productive, so that they have your financials right from the get-go. There's some concern now that people come in and they're overwhelmed as it is. They've got the litigation happening. They usually have also whatever personal trauma has been happening at the reason they've been missing payments.
But for the bank, though, you give me the principle of the owner. For the bank, though, I'm going to guess that it gives them a bright line that, okay, we have 8 months, so you can say, it makes it more meaningful conversation. It buys time for everybody and gives the bank a clear deadline that by this time here, then we will foreclose. Now, can you still extend if you go 8 months? So you still can extend. That's the concern then. If you go 8 months and still extend it, and the concern is we're continuing to add to the prolonging of the process.
And the thing is that the problem is, at least the clients I deal with, they don't want the mediation to go longer than 8 months. They like to get the workout done and move on with the rest of their life. And the delay is not helping anybody. So that's why we try to put that. I think that the banks are going to appreciate making that first mediation session productive and get the ball rolling, so maybe this thing can get wrapped up before that 8 months hits.
All right. Folks want to know, they're watching, they want to know what to do. They have the wolves are coming in, they're being foreclosed on. You're a lawyer, an expert here on foreclosure prevention. They want to know now, what do they do when they're facing closure? Walk them through this. We have a screen here to show you. The first thing you're saying is get involved with the mediation process. Why is that so important?
It just, if nothing else, you'll be able to sit down, not worry about the litigation, and talk with somebody who can actually get somebody at the bank to talk about your account and actually have, maybe for the first time, a real conversation about your situation. And having the mediator there will also help to make sure that you're doing what you need to do and the bank's doing what they need to do as well.
You have attend a legal clinic, right? Get all the legal mumbo-jumbo, demystify that process. Why is that so important?
What we do is we run monthly clinics in Hartford and then monthly clinics in Fairfield County. And what it does is allows you to get a sense of, okay, here's what the process is going to be, here's what the timeline, what should I say in mediation? People are thinking, gosh, I have to.
What should they say? I mean, give me what hypothetical. What can you say? Hey, I lost my job, went to divorce, I'm broke. I mean, what do you say? What's the most compelling pitch during mediation? All of it?
Well, I mean, I try to tell people, and it's usually they have a black cloud that's been following them for 1 to 2 years, and there's 2 or 3 things, and they could talk about it forever. And I say, try to boil it down to a sentence or two. What happened? And it could be, I was in construction, I was out of work for 10 months. During that period, I fell behind on my bills, and that's why I haven't paid my mortgage. But I want to keep my home, and here's how I'm going to do it. I'm back to employed, making money. Might be working with a housing counselor, which is another thing that you should be doing. And here are the papers I submitted. Do you need anything else? Is there any questions that you have?
Let me ask you this candidly. How many foreclosures are actually salvageable? Because my sense is reading these stories here that folks are in up to their neck, way in over their head, and there's nothing you can do to remediate. They're broke, busted, disgusted. How many really can be salvaged?
Quite a bit. Through the mediation program, the people who made it through mediation, 65% have been able to keep their home.
That's encouraging.
It is. And it's the key is, I tell people, it helps to be persistent, to be that slow burn, to keep at it, to know there's going to be some bumps along the way. There's going to be some lost paperwork. There's going to be confusion over how much money exactly is it that you're making, and there's going to be some bumps along the way. But if you can stick with it, if you got a salvageable situation, you'll be able to salvage it.
And mediation means what? Does that mean extending the loan where, okay, we'll change the interest rate? Do you forgive the loan? Is it changing the value of the home? Give me an example of a mediation.
Yeah. The typical, so the most common way to save your house is to end up with a loan modification where the interest rate is lowered.
Right.
Sometimes they kick out the loan term a little bit.
Let's say you owe $100,000. We'll keep it simple. You owe $100,000. You're in over your head. The interest rate is 8%. Walk me through a hypothetical mediation.
Well, let's say for example that you make $5,000 a month. And maybe they'll take your payment down something like, maybe it's at $2,000, they bring it down to $1,550, they lower the interest rate down to whatever it needs to be. They may kick out the term to 40 years.
Okay. So
they might put some on the back end.
Right.
They're not going to forgive.
Right, gotcha. But they'll spread out lower, etc.
Right.
All right, what not to do, real quick. We had a quick screen on what not to do.
Sure.
Very quickly, 2 things on what not to do. You have here, don't pay anyone to help except an attorney. A lot of people out there who are unscrupulous.
Yeah, there's just a lot of scam artists. It's okay to pay an in-state attorney who's been doing this work. Otherwise, no one else is worth paying. All
right, we'll have folks read through our screen here. We're running out of time, but good stuff here on the screen. Catch the show, ctnow.com/Stan. You can also go to the website, Fair Housing Center,
to learn about our clinics.
All right, for the good folks here, folks, at Fox Clinic, I'm Stan Simpson. Don't forget, Camp Current Telethon is next, trying to raise some money. I want to thank our guests, Shannon Nall, Jerry Brick, Greg St. Pierre, June Arthur, Jeff Gentes, and we'll see you next week. Contribute to Camp Current. Don't go away.